Today I'm going to talk you through building a brand new line from scratch and everything that I'm considering whilst we're doing it. Let's crack on. Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome back to my OpenTTD Let's Play. Today we're going to be building a brand new line from London to Birmingham, and I'm going to get you through all the different steps that I'm taking to do it. The first thing we're going to do is put in the stations. I find it's best to put in the stations first for two reasons. Firstly, if you put a station in, you know where your track needs to be heading. If you put a track between where you think the stations are going to be and try and plop a station on the end, you might then decide that your station needs to be a little bit this way or a little bit that way, and then your line doesn't match up. The other reason is if you have to move land or trees to place your track. This can actually damage your rating with the city. So if we look at the London here at the city and check with the local authority, we're currently outstanding. But if we were kind of on the edge with this city and maybe we adjusted some land or deleted some farmland, that could actually harm our rating to the point where they won't actually allow us to put a station in anymore. So if you start with a station, you then don't have to worry about that, and the local authority have no say of whether you're putting track in or not. So let's do that. The first thing we're going to do is select our station, and we're going to select the orientation this way, so that we're going to be heading out past this steel mill. I think that's a steel mill. Looks like a steel mill. It is a steel mill. And yeah, we're going to be heading out that way. Now we're going to be doing a big station again, a big spread station, and there's two reasons for that as well. The reason that you might want to do a big spread station is for you to be able to have lots and lots of platforms for your trains to arrive at. Now here we've got 4 platforms, which means we can have 4 trains sat there at once, and if we've got lots of trains moving in and out very quickly, we may need more platforms than that. Our throughput is really what defines that. If you've got a small town, you probably don't need many platforms. The second reason we're doing a spread station is to help increase the coverage of the platform. So we're starting with, if you look in the settings, I think in the game settings, the station, and we're going to use the filter here for spread, SPR, and you can see the maximum station spread is 15 tiles. I think by default, yep, that's 12. We've actually upped that for this game. Some people like to keep it as 12, some people like to make it bigger, but I like to have it just a little bit bigger than 12 because it just feels a little bit restrictive. So if we use the track, we can actually measure 12 from our first platform, and you can see where the outer edge of our station can be, which is actually here. Well, yeah, it's marked at that point. So then we can get our second set of platforms, and we hold control, and if we hold control when we place a station, we get the join station menu. Now here, the only option for us to join this new station with an existing station is London Woods. So we click that, and we're in. We have a spread station now. Okay, we don't need that little bit of track, we're just using it for measuring. Now I'm going to call this London West, because it is. I think we already have a London North and a London South. Yeah, London North, London South. So maybe we'll have a London East one day. Now there's various different designs of station you can use. You can do Ro-Ro stations or terminus. We've got examples of Ro-Ro stations. Where's a good example? Here we are at Worktop Mines here. So we've got one line coming in, splits off into three platforms, signals on the end, they join back up and off it goes again. It rolls in one way and rolls out the other. We're going to do a terminus station, which is usually less efficient. Depends on the design you're going to use. But we're going to use a nice simple design. So one design you could, should we do both? No, we'll just do a nice simple design. So we'll terminus stations, you don't have to have signals on the end of the platforms. Built into the stations is kind of like a path signal already. And we're going to put a tunnel here. Now why are we going to do a tunnel and not a bridge? Well, as a general rule, tunnels are better than bridges. And this is a conversation that goes on a number of times, and it just keeps cropping up every now and then. Why are tunnels better than bridges? And there's two main reasons, and they're kind of linked together. tunnels don't have a speed limit like bridges. So if we was to put a bridge for this one, you can see here that we've got maximum speed limits: 32, 48 kilometers an hour, 257. If you've got the girder steel bridge available to you, 257 is probably a lot faster than any of the trains you're going to use early game. So it doesn't 100% matter a lot, but it probably matters a tiny bit, you know? And when you've got the choice of something that's faster and something that's not so fast, you take the faster one, surely. You don't need to upgrade this later on. If you start off in your early game and you've got like really cheap these steel girder bridges, and then later on your trains are going faster than that, you need to upgrade them. So we use tunnels. The downside with tunnels is that you've got to change the land, and sometimes you haven't got the space to put that in. But here we go. So we're now going to measure enough room for our train to come out. So we're using 6-length train. So after this junction block next to the platform, I want a train to be able to sit here without blocking anything else. So that means we now need a signal there. So because of the steel mill, we've got a slightly different design to what I would normally use. Let's just make it transparent. I did that by pressing X on my keyboard. And we'll just link those two together. There we go. Now, for the signals here, we do not put signals here, or here, or here. None of that. The reason is that if you put signals there, a train coming in down here will not be able to see the availability of the platforms. It will go through this junction here without knowing what ahead is free. If there's a train sat in this platform and in this platform here, and you've got signals there, it might just continue straight on and wait at that signal, blocking everything. To have our signal a little bit further back over here means that the train can pick the correct route that it can get, that it needs to go. Right, we've got a little bit of track missing there, and that's it. That's this station done. I'm not going to hook this bit up now. I think that's there for a future upgrade. At the moment, I don't expect our throughput to be the same as London North or London South. I think we're going to be all right. So, and we can always upgrade it and connect it later. So now, where are we going? We're going to Birmingham. Now, where's Birmingham? Where is Birmingham? There it is. I saw it. Here it is. There's Birmingham. Now, because Birmingham was a relatively good place to build, I thought it looked good. Early game, I put some track there and saved the space because I wanted to build there later. So that's what we're going to do. Now, in this game, we're playing with the setting that allows us to build while the game is paused. So we don't have to worry about taking this out and the town growing over that area just yet. And actually, they've grown beautifully for us to be able to fit a station in there. But we're going to do a spread station again, just to make sure that we've got the opportunity to expand later if we want to. Now, the only problem here for us is our spread station. If we just let's make the trees transparent as well. Let's unlock that. Is we've got a little hill here. We've got one bit of the Birmingham station in. I think we want to get the other in as well. So our station can come up to here. I've just flattened that little bit. The only bit we need. We don't need to flatten any more than that. Actually, we do. I got that wrong. We do need to flatten. Nope. Flatten that. Oh my goodness, come on. I've got the wrong tool. There we go. I think that should do it. Let's just measure it again just to make sure I'm using the rail tool to measure. Yep. And there. I was holding shift. If you hold shift instead of control, you'll get this estimated cost. It says it's going to cost us 25 grand to put that in. And there we go, 25 grand it did. I don't know how we're going to connect up this just yet, because we're probably going to have a junction here which takes us off somewhere else as well after. So we'll start off with the lower one and connect that to London. Now we've got the stations in, I don't have to worry about the town not liking us, so we can lower and flatten out much more of this land. And also we're going to add some roads. Okay, so we're going to add a road coming down here, and we'll keep that road going there, and we'll put one here as well, just to help encourage the town to grow around this station, which hopefully it will a little. Now, because it's a spread station, it doesn't matter which one we come out of, and we'll start here. We'll start there, and we're going to build the same sort of terminus station again. There we go. So we got a little crossover here. We're essentially dividing our four-platform station into two platform stations, and that's where the efficiency comes from. Okay, so let's now just do our little dip for our tunnel, and we come out here, turn left, get rid of these extra bits, connect that up, and now because we haven't got a piece of industry in the way, we should be able to just do this how I normally like to do it. So I normally like to have it join like that. Okay, fix that bit, and there we go. That is the track. Now, one of the things I didn't do on the other one was depots. I do need to do the depots, so we'll just have exit signals here. There we go. So for depots, I do double depots like this. The reason why I do double depots is because it's more efficient than having one depot. And I'll tell you why in a second. Yep. So we have depots on the entrance and depots on the exit for this sort of station. And I'm just going to do it so it lines up nice and neatly like that. There we go. Pop a signal in before the depot there as well. And jobs are good. Okay, so double depots are more efficient than single depots because you can have a train going in and a train coming out at the same time. And hopefully we'll see that in action later. So now we need to figure out how we're going to connect Birmingham up. So if we come kind of diagonally straight down, past Farnborough, where do we end up? Almost perfect. Okay, so we're planning a route here. We're looking for gaps between towns. We're looking to see if there's anything in the way, like this forest and things like that. I think this road is going to have to get ripped out. We're going to have to do a lot of land deformation to get this main line in neatly. We may have a couple of problems around a couple of villages, but as a general rule, I think straight down is going to work well for us. So here we go. We'll go straight down here, and we'll just join this bit of track up there, and then we'll dig a nice little. Oh, is that right? Yeah, okay, that is right. So we're going to dig a nice little hole through here. Now I'm doing what I call diagonal digging. So this is the normal shape for the land level tool. If you hold control, it does it in a diagonal square. It's not actual diagonal on the screen, but it's diagonal compared to the squares on the screen, which may be confusing or not, but it is how it is. Now, the bad thing about doing a main line in diagonals is it makes your depots a lot more difficult, like so much more difficult along the main line. And actually, I don't know how we're going to cope with that, but we'll figure out a way. We'll figure something else. Okay, so this bit of road's in the way. We're not using it, so I'm going to get rid of it. We don't want the jukebox either. Same here. It's just so much in the way. We did all this tunnel gone. There we go. We can just level it out. This is a main line after all. We don't want to be interrupted. Thank you very much. And it looks like we're going to have to get rid of this bit here. Now we're getting really close to Farnborough, and I don't know if we're going to have to do a wiggle to get round Farnborough. So let's find out. So let's see. Okay, so we're cutting through the land here. I think by the looks of it, yeah, we're going to be able to go straight past that town, which is fantastic. And straight through there. Straight through there. This is actually going a little bit better so far than I thought it might. There's not a massive amount of land change here. There's just a little bit. Ah, here we go. Here we go. We've come up against our first issue. It was that little town of Westcott that was causing the problem. So why do you want to keep your track as straight and as direct as possible? Well, if you go to the map button and down to cargo flow legend, you can just enable these and choose all. You can see all these extra lines that have shown up on the screen. These lines denote, not donate, these lines denote the actual distance calculated by the game. You can see that just beneath the label there, that is where the line starts, and if we go to Stevenage, for example, you can see there's a dot there just beneath the label. The game actually calculates distances between station labels. So it doesn't matter whether you've got a spread station like this and your trains come from this platform, it will calculate it from this point over here. Okay? That's something to bear in mind, actually. So ideally here, what we want would be the label to be on this side, because then trains that are coming from our left-hand set of platforms would actually be travelling a shorter journey than what the game's calculating, and we would be getting a little extra cash. And as you can see, those lines are straight. They're direct, point to point, as the bird flies, as the crow flies, as the panda flies. Pandas don't fly. But because the game calculates the distance that the train has travelled based on that, then that's where you need to provide the most direct service you can. Because if you go any further, then you are doing yourself a disservice. Right, are we going to be able to get... is that 7 or 6? That's 7, so let's cut it back by 1. I'm just using the track here to try and... I don't think we're going to make it. And they're not going to let us delete the football stadium. Right, we're gonna have to kink back again then. So yeah, you're doing yourself a disservice if you send your trains on a wild goose chase, going further than they need to in any sort of cardinal direction, any sort of wild. So for example, this kink here is making my trains travel longer than they need to if they were just going direct. And you can tell how good your line is by how closely it follows the line that the game's put in here by the cargo flow legends. And you can see our railway line is roughly heading out in the right direction. It veers off slightly, but then once we get up here, we get a little kink that brings us closer. Then we've got a diagonal that brings us closer and brings us straight in. You can't really do much better than that. Doing straight diagonal to try and follow the line, I don't think will actually give you any sort of improvement, any sort of bonus, anything like that. Right, here we go now. This is, I think, probably the biggest hill we're going to have to cut through. Past Priestwood. And I think we're nearly at London now. No, we're not. We've got a little bit of a problem here. We've got to get round there. I'm tempted to come this way, actually, because coming this way would then give us a better run into the city. But I think as long as we come close to past this iron ore mine, we'll be all right. So that's where I want to head to. Also, we need to change the land height that we're coming in at. I think we need to come down by 1 by the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like that's the case. Right then, let's get rid of this bit of road that's in the way. Oh no, it looks like there's a land height change of 2. That's not what I was hoping for, but never mind. We'll work with it. So, I don't really want to change the land height too much around here. But we're going to have to do it a little bit. So we're going to go up 1 immediately. Then we're going to try and keep it... Oh no, it is just 1 land height change. I was right in the first place. There we go. And then, of course, we'll connect these up. Sometimes when a line is a little bit more difficult than this and there's going to be more things that are in the way, I do segments of the line and then join the segments up. For example, if I knew this bit was going to be a pain, maybe I'd put a little bit of line in here and then connect it up, which is kind of what I've actually done. I skipped past this bit here that I knew was just going to be a nice straight easy bit, and I just skipped past that. Now, one thing we've got to bear in mind is we don't want any gaps in the line like that. I think what we'll probably do is use these bits as opportunities to put depots in, which is probably a good idea actually. So I'll show you an example of that. So what we'll do is we'll come up extra here and then connect there. The downside to what I'm about to do is that there's not a lot of runoff. So we can artificially create that by coming up higher. And by runoff, what I mean is space for a train to be able to get off the main line before it goes into a depot. And I think I can't put it there if I want a double depot, because if I put a depot on the other side, that would mean a 90-degree turnout, and we don't use 90-degree turns in this. So that is kind of the best I can do for that one, which is not too bad. Now for this one, we've got a town in the way, so I don't think we're going to do very well for this, but well, actually that's not too bad. We can get up to there, and the depot can go in here. And for these side depots, I take out the middle bit of track. The reason why I do that is that will stop trains pathing down these extra bits unless they need to go into the depot. That should help. That should help. Let's get the rest of the main line in first before we start messing around with more depots. They are not ideal. They are not ideal. They're kind of making the best of a weird diagonal situation that we've got going on there. I forgot how long this line is. It's quite a big one. But I think we've pretty much got all the track in now. Yep, we have. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to signals, and we're going to control drag all the way down the line, and we'll just put one in facing the other way as well. And that puts signals in all the way until the next junction, which will be this area here that we messed around with. And then we'll do the same from the other end. If we didn't put that depot block in, then we wouldn't have had to do that. Now, I've just realised, have I put the signals on the wrong way around? No, I haven't put the signals on the wrong way around. What I mean by the wrong way around is that at the moment in this Let's Play, we've got trains driving on the left. Sometimes you might want trains driving on the right. It doesn't matter. It's preference, it's personal preference. So now we need to do the signals around here. So look, we've got a signal going up here, which means that this bit is a junction block going that way. So going into that junction block, we put signals. And then this is coming down to the south, so going into that junction block there, we put signals. So that means a train coming out of the depot should have room to wait in front of this signal before merging with the main line. We want a signal here before that junction block, and a signal here before that junction, which is where it splits out. And there we go. We've got room for a train to wait there, and maybe a train to wait here. It's not really long enough. Do we have a more? We see we don't have space here for one either. Maybe in this long segment here we can do a deliberate kink where we put depot, like a big kink out this way. We put depots in, go round that town, and then kink back in that way just before Leamington Spa. I like that idea. It makes our line a little less direct, but it allows us to put depots in, which is very important when you're playing with breakdowns turned on. But our line is in. We've got stations, we've got the track, we've got the signals and the depots. It's time for the trains. Now for this line, we're going to start our trains over at London. And, oh, I forgot the depots at London. Now we haven't got room to do really fancy depots here at London because of this steel mill in the way, but we can kind of fix that. If we take this bit of track and swap it so that it merges left instead of merging right, it gives us some space here, and then we can just redirect it. Now remember, doing a kink in the track like this will not slow the train down as long as the train is only going through one of those kinks in one direction through its train length. As a general rule, if a train is turning in the same direction Let me show you. So if a train turns like that down what we call a 45-degree turn, within its train length, it will not slow down. If a train turns like that within its train length, it will slow down, or sorry, it could slow down. Or if you did something like that and the train was longer than that bit there, that would cause it to slow down as well. But doing long turns like this and a little kink like that, so for example, you've gone left, but then you've turned 45 degrees right, but then you're turning 45 degrees left. That won't slow it down because you're not turning to lots of 45 degrees in the same direction in the train length. So that's the rule. That is the rule of thumb. Do not turn the same direction more than 45 degrees within the train length, and then you won't have any slowdown of your trains. So we've done that there, and the reason why we've done that is so that I can fit a depot in. So we'll just sneak it in here next to the steel mill, or not far from the steel mill, and we've actually then got to put the other double depot there. There's not a lot of room. Steel mill makes it a bit weird, but that will do for now. New vehicle time. So, choosing a vehicle. As a general rule, one of the most important things in a game where you've not got breakdowns turned off is reliability. Okay, so we sort by reliability and we get the best reliable train we can. If we scroll down to the bottom, we don't necessarily get the best, and I'll tell you why. This steam train here, the Kirkby Paul tank engine, has a maximum reliability of 84%. The Kelling 3100 is only 82%. So you say, oh, okay, let's go on with the maximum reliability. However, this train has much less power, much less traction effort, and is much slower than the Kelling. The Kelling can pull better, it can pull faster, and it goes much better. Yes, it costs more to run, but you're going to get better profits. You're going to get a better flowing network as well. Just checking the one beneath it. The one beneath it is the UU diesel, and it costs less to run and goes faster. It's got a bigger power and a slightly smaller traction effort. So if you were doing trains that maybe were 8 or 9 long, you might go for the Kelling, because the traction effort, I think, would help get its acceleration up. But we're going to go for the UU, I think. Oh no, the CS4000. The CS4000, it costs more and goes slower, but has bigger traction effort. Again, we don't need the traction effort. This is a relatively small to mid-range passenger train. UU diesel it is. Buy the vehicle and pop some passenger carriages on it. Now, on London Main Line, London North Line, we put mail vans on. And on the London South, I think we just kept it as a passenger service. I think for now that's what we're going to do. I can't see those trains. They're a bit hidden. Let's just unpause the... Yeah, look, passenger carriages all the way down. That's what we're going to do. Passenger, 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 passenger. And you can see that our vehicle size there says 6.0, which means we're 6 length. 6 squares in length, not 6 units of vehicle. And then we're going to do some orders. We're going to tell our trains to full load at London West for now, and then go all the way down the line to Birmingham, and then they'll just go back again. Now, normally I wouldn't full load this, but I'm going to use the full load feature at the beginning to start spacing these trains out, because we're going to need more than one. We're going to need a few of them. Ideally, what you want is the first train getting back when your last train is leaving, the beginning of of your loop. So we're going to clone. I think we've got 6 in there to begin with. We can throw more in later. The game's currently paused, and we've spent about 2 million on this line, but it's done. We've got room for expansion with more platforms later. What we'll probably do is bring that out and maybe just connect it straight in there. We never know. And we've got some depots in part way. They're not the best. We could do with better ones. Maybe we could do with better ones here as well. Actually, what we could do is move the kink. Let's move the kink. Okay, so I'm going to do... that, and this, and this, and this. And then what we're going to do, it goes uphill. Okay, we're gonna let it go uphill, and then we're gonna bring it up like this. And what I'm gonna hopefully do is judge the mid-range point. So looking at that, that's the longest sort of bit we can have, I think. It's this bit of land height change. We could have it further down the line of... No, we'll deal with it being there. And then what we'll do is we'll move the main line to halfway. So about halfway is about there, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, that looks like it could be okay. Now the problem I've got here is this bit of road. The local authority absolutely hate me. They think I'm appalling, but that's because I've just taken a load of trees out and reshaped the landscape. Let's try putting a load of trees in. We're gonna just put probably 47 grand's worth, and they think I'm median now. Hopefully they'll let me delete that bit of road, which is actually quite important because that'll allow me to flatten this bit of land and get our depot in. So we're going to put our depot in just there, a double depot. So coming off the line, we haven't got a lot of leeway. Again, coming off, we haven't got a lot of bit there, but we have got it here. What we could do to fix that is we could do it like this. So it turns right there, then left. See, that could potentially slow it down when it hits this corner, but not by much. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. So what we'll do is we'll just move this signal up to the beginning of the junction, pop a signal on the exit there, and I don't know which one of those signals was the original signal. There we go. So that's good. Let's remove all the signals part way and do the same in the other direction. So the tracks merge here, so we'll put signals going into that merge. The tracks split. Oh, I did that wrong. There we go. The tracks split here, so we'll put a signal going into that split. We'll get rid of that one. And again, we kind of want that runoff down here, so I don't know if we're going to have room to do this the same as we did the other way, but looks like we might. Like that. I'm not sure that's the best, but it will certainly do. It's certainly better than not having any of the runoff at all. So just before there we'll have a signal. That signal there, we'll put one part way by clicking and dragging, and we'll just remove these bits again just to stop the trains using these extra bits of line unless they need the depot. Okay, that's an interesting way of doing the diagonal depots. I've never thought of that before. Well, there we go, folks. We are all done, and we can unpause the game, and our first trains are going to be coming out to London West. Here we go. So that is a lot of my thought process and reasoning when I build lines in OpenTTD. There's probably more to it than that I could convey within a single episode. It's already been quite a long episode, but we will leave it there for now. So thanks for watching. If you've got any questions about any of that, put them down in the comments section. If you've got anything to say, whack that down there as well. And come along to masterhellish.net, because there you can find the links to my Discord, to my social media, where to find the game giveaways and all of that wonderful stuff. I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching, take care, and for now, goodbye.